In 1939, a researcher and his graduate student conducted one of the most unethical studies known in psychology history. This study is none other than the monster study. The monster study takes place in an orphanage where 22 children are administered speech therapy lessons. They're divided into two groups. 10 children are deemed to be stutterers, and 12 children are deemed to be non-stutterers. Each group is further divided into two subgroups, where one receives positive feedback on their speech and the other receives negative feedback on their speech. For a stuttering group, half of the children are told that they're showing great improvements in their speech. You're showing great improvements in your speech. You're making great progress. You're getting better each time. Don't mind what others say about your speaking because they don't realize that this is only a phase. You will outgrow the stuttering and you'll be able to speak much better than you're speaking now. For the children who had normal speech, half of them were given negative feedback. You have many symptoms of a child who is beginning to stutter. Try to stop yourself immediately. Don't ever speak unless you will do it right. You're making mistakes when you speak. You need to try harder when you speak. You see how Steven stutters? Well, he undoubtedly started this very same way. Don't speak unless you can do it right. The results of the study were immediate. The stutterers who were given positive feedback showed increased levels of confidence within their speech. By the end of the study, they showed slight improvements in their speech, and some of them even started to believe that they no longer had a stutter. On the other hand, the subjects who had normal speech but were given negative feedback became more embarrassed and more self-conscious of their speech. The researcher noted that it was difficult to get the children to talk, even though they were talking so freely before. One of the boys began to snap his fingers in frustration and said "ah" when he couldn't utter the next word. Another boy said that the sounds wouldn't come out of his mouth. "It feels like it's stuck in there," he said. One of the girls even ran away from the orphanage 2 years later and eventually ended up in an all-girls industrial school. The results of the study were hidden from the public eye for over 62 years, until it was finally published in a series of articles that received national news attention. By then, several of the orphan children had died, but those who were alive were horrified to learn that they had been part of an experiment without their consent or knowledge. The surviving children and the families of those who died filed a lawsuit and were awarded a total of $925,000 for the lifelong psychological and emotional scars caused by 6 months of suffering during the experiment. The message here is that we must be careful about what we say to others. Our words are powerful, and they're like a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we say something positive to someone, they're more likely to live up to it. And when we say something negative to someone, they're more likely to live down to it. But oftentimes, it's not about what we say to others or what others say to us. It's about what we say to ourselves that most shapes how we act and who we become. So, what are some of the things you've been saying to yourself lately? And are they helping you move forward or are they holding you back?